All right, welcome to your deep dive. So today we're going deep on the Epoch Bitcoin Ecosystem 2024 annual report. It's like, the State of the Union, but for Bitcoin. And this report, it's highlighting some pretty big shifts that, they might actually start impacting your life soon.
Yeah, and one thing that really jumps out is this idea that we're moving beyond thinking about Bitcoin as just a currency.
Okay, so it's more than just buying and selling Bitcoin.
Right, we're talking about like a whole ecosystem.
So what's in this ecosystem? What has you like buzzing? What's caught your eye?
Okay, so one of the things that's really interesting is this concept of discrete log contracts or DLCs.
DLCs.
Yeah, it's a way to enable borrowing and lending directly on the Bitcoin blockchain.
Whoa, hold on. Borrowing and lending on Bitcoin itself?
Exactly.
So that's like, what, a whole new level of decentralized finance?
It really is.
But, like, how does that even work?
Okay, so imagine you need a small loan. Instead of going to a bank, you could use a DLC to secure that loan, like peer-to-peer, right on the Bitcoin network.
Oh, wow.
It's like a smart contract built right into Bitcoin's core.
So no more credit checks, no more, like, mountains of paperwork.
Potentially, yeah.
It almost sounds, I don't know, too good to be true.
Well, there are definitely challenges.
Okay, like what?
I mean, it's still early days for this technology. One of the big ones is, security.
Right, yeah. Because we're talking about real money here.
Exactly. Any vulnerabilities could have some pretty serious consequences.
So what's being done to, like, address that? To make these DLCs more, I don't know, more secure for, like for everyday users?
Well, there's a lot of ongoing research and development focused on making DLCs more robust and secure.
Okay, so it's not perfect yet, but like people are working on it.
Absolutely.
It feels like, it's the Wild West out there, right? Which is kind of exciting, but also a little scary.
Yeah, it's definitely both. But with innovation, there's always going to be some level of risk.
True. But the potential benefits with these DLCs, they seem pretty big.
They really are.
Speaking of innovation, the report also talks about covered calls on the Bitcoin blockchain.
Yeah,
Now, I'm going to be honest, that sounds a little bit like Wall Street jargon to me.
I know, right?
So break it down for me. What are covered calls and how do they work on Bitcoin?
Okay, so let's say you have some Bitcoin and, you think the price might go up, but you're not 100% sure.
Got it.
With a covered call, you can give someone the option to buy your Bitcoin at a certain price within a specific time frame,
Yeah.
and they pay you a premium for that option.
Oh, okay. So it's kind of like I'm betting that the price won't go above a certain point,
Right.
and I get paid for taking that bet.
Exactly.
But like, why do this on the Bitcoin blockchain?
Well, it's about transparency and automation.
Okay.
On the blockchain, everything is recorded and verifiable.
Right.
So there's no need for, a third party to handle that contract.
I see.
Plus, the whole process is automatic based on the price of Bitcoin. That's pretty slick.
Yeah, it streamlines things quite a bit.
It seems like the Bitcoin ecosystem is getting more, sophisticated in terms of the financial tools it offers.
Definitely.
Are we moving towards a world where people can, manage their finances completely on the blockchain? Like, no more banks?
It is definitely a possibility. These developments, along with things like Bitcoin native decentralized exchanges, they're all pointing in that direction. But, it's still pretty early.
Okay, so we're seeing all these new financial tools, right? It's pretty cool from a tech perspective, but what does it mean for, for the average person?
Well, one area where this could have a huge impact is financial inclusion.
Financial inclusion.
Yeah, like imagine a world where you don't need a bank account to access financial services.
That would be amazing,
Yeah.
especially for people in underserved communities.
Exactly. Bitcoin could give anyone with an internet connection access to these tools.
So they could, send money, get loans?
All of that, yeah. Even participate in investment opportunities. Wow. Okay, so how would this actually work? Can you give me like a real world example?
Sure. Imagine a small business owner, right?
Okay.
They have this great idea, but they can't get a loan from a traditional bank.
Right.
But with a Bitcoin-based platform, they could connect with lenders all over the world.
Oh, that's interesting.
They could get that loan and, grow their business.
Okay, so it's not just about like making money, it's about giving people more control, right?
It is. And it goes beyond just individual empowerment. Think about supply chains.
Supply chain.
Yeah. And we see fair trade labels, but what if we could actually trace a product from start to finish?
How would that work?
Well, with blockchain technology, companies could create this transparent record of every step.
Okay.
So you can see exactly where a product came from and how it was made.
That's amazing.
It could really increase transparency in industries like, food, fashion, even pharmaceuticals.
Yeah, that makes sense. But, bringing it back to personal finance, what else could this do for me?
Think about control over your own data and assets.
Okay.
With Bitcoin, you don't need a bank to hold your money.
So I'm, in complete control.
Exactly. It's financial self-sovereignty.
But wouldn't that be a lot of responsibility?
It is, yeah. There's no bank to call if something goes wrong.
That's a good point.
But the good news is the ecosystem is developing tools to make it easier and safer.
Okay, so it's getting better.
Definitely.
What about, the actual transactions? Aren't Bitcoin transactions, really slow and expensive?
They used to be, but not anymore.
Oh, really?
Yeah. With things like the Lightning Network, transactions are almost instant and, super cheap.
So I could, buy a coffee with Bitcoin.
You could. And it might even be cheaper and faster than using your credit card.
Wow, okay. I'm starting to see why everyone's so excited about this. It's like a whole new way of thinking about finance.
It really is.
But what about, the environmental impact? Bitcoin mining uses a lot of energy, right?
Yeah, that's a valid concern.
So what's being done about that?
Well, a lot of people are working on making mining more sustainable.
Like using renewable energy.
Exactly. And it's important to consider the bigger picture.
What do you mean?
Well, when you compare Bitcoin's energy use to the traditional financial system, it's not as simple as it seems.
Okay, so it's more nuanced than people think.
Yeah. But, we should probably talk more about that forum post you mentioned.
The one from 2010.
Yeah. I think it's really relevant to what we're talking about now.
You know what? You're right. We've covered so much already. Let's save that for part 3.
Sounds good to me.
Stay tuned, folks. We'll be right back. Okay, so we're back. And before we wrap things up, I want to circle back to that 2010 forum post you mentioned.
Yeah, the one that talks about moving arbitrary data.
Right. Back then, Bitcoin was brand new. Most people were just thinking about it as digital cash.
Right. But in this post, someone was already talking about using Bitcoin for more than just money.
So they were predicting the future.
Pretty much. It shows how forward-thinking those early Bitcoin folks were. They saw the blockchain's potential beyond just, finance.
So we've gone from this idea of arbitrary data to this whole ecosystem we have now.
Exactly. And it's still evolving.
Okay, so for our listeners out there, what's the big takeaway here?
Well, the Bitcoin ecosystem is about way more than just speculation or making a quick buck.
It's about building a better system, right?
Yeah. A more efficient, transparent, and accessible system for handling information and value.
So it's not just about the currency anymore.
Right. It's about the underlying technology and how it can change, how we interact with the world.
It feels like we're on the verge of something huge.
It's an exciting time. We're seeing so much innovation. It's hard to predict where it will all lead.
Yeah, that's what makes it so interesting, right?
Absolutely. And it brings up a really important question. Will all of this lead to more people using crypto every day?
Will we all be living on the blockchain someday?
Exactly. Only time will tell, I guess.
Well, it's definitely something to keep an eye on.
For sure.
Well, that's all the time we have for today.
It's been fun.
We hope you enjoyed this deep dive into the Bitcoin ecosystem. We'll see you next time.